Hey guys, what's going on? This is Hunter with Unino Ball. Today we're going to be looking at Nick Baumgardner's 2024 NFL mock draft after the Super Bowl. It is a 3-round mock. I will link in the description if you want to read all 3 rounds. I'm just going to do the first round today. How'd you guys enjoy the Super Bowl? Let me know in the comments. As always, if you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe. Leave a like. Let me know in the comments your favorite pick and your least favorite pick from this mock draft. Let's get right into it. It doesn't look like there's any preferences. He says the NFL draft held this year in Detroit is now 2.5 months away. So without delay, let's dive in. For now, we're going 3 rounds. No trades. Enjoy. Have fun. At number 1, we have the Chicago Bears taking Caleb Williams. Pretty standard pick. I don't really know what else there is to say about it. We see it all the time. So let's just move on right to the next one. I think the odds for Fields going to the Steelers dropped to like minus 125 today. So if you don't know anything about betting, that basically means he's more likely to be on the Steelers than any other team. Every other team is plus odds. I think the Bears are plus odds. I think they're like plus 150. But obviously, like, minus means it's way more likely. So at number 2, we have the Washington Commanders taking Drake May. So I am still on the Commanders are going to take a QB train. And I think my thing is, I understand the narrative. I've been getting some comments that, the Commanders aren't going to draft a QB. And while I agree with you, I just want to make that very clear. Like, I agree. I don't know if this team is ready for a QB. Obviously, like, with all the staff they just assembled, and there's going to be a lot of figuring it out. And I don't know if you necessarily want to throw a QB in that environment, but the argument is also, well, do we know if we're going to be up this high again? So I think until I hear sources that say that Drake May or that the Commanders are not going to be taking a quarterback at 2, I think the mocks kind of have to go that way, because if they're not doing trades, May is going to go 2 or Daniels is going to go 2 to a team that trades up. And in this situation, I just think it's too hard not to take Drake May. I think after Caleb Williams, I don't think the Commanders or the Patriots are ready for a rookie QB. I think you have someone in Sam Howell who can, he's got some upside, but more downside, very interception prone, everything like that. But at the end of the day, he can play ball. He can be a starter, like a bottom 20 starter in the league. Like, he's definitely got some arm talent. So, nothing much to say here. At number 3, we have the New England Patriots taking Marvin Harrison Jr. So I think this is the most sensible pick. Now, I will say this is, if there's a team that really wants to come up for a quarterback and is really, really, really interested in getting Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Caleb Williams, any one of those quarterbacks that are left on the board, I think it's probably going to be Daniels. I think the Patriots are probably the prime team to trade out with. I think they have so many things that they need to fix on their team that at the end of the day, yes, Marvin Harrison Jr. would be great, but so would maybe 2 first-round picks and a couple day 2 picks. Like, that's a very real possibility. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is a good pick for them, though, if they decide not to trade out. And in this draft, or this mock, there is no trades. At number 4, we have the Arizona Cardinals taking Malik Neighbors. I have seen them be going Rome Odunze or Malik Neighbors here. I don't want to say they're a lock to take receiver. I think there is kind of like a wild card chance that they do take a tackle, or even trading back and, collecting assets. I mean, they have a lot of holes to fill. I could also see them trading back, getting like an edge and, using their later pick this year on like a tackle or even a receiver. I mean, the receiver class is deep. So I guess it depends on how you have your priority list stacked if you're the Arizona Cardinals. Malik Neighbors is a great prospect, would be wide receiver 1 in this draft if Marvin Harrison Jr. was not in the draft, and there are some teams that have Malik Neighbors ahead of Marvin Harrison Jr. At number 5, we have the Los Angeles Chargers taking Brock Bowers. I think this makes a lot of sense, obviously, with Greg Roman being there. Do I necessarily think it is the best option? No. I think maybe getting a tackle here would be good, but I guess it really depends on what you want to do. I mean, Greg Roman is a run heavy guy. I think my thing is like maybe Bowers needs to put on a little weight. He is one of those smaller tight ends. But at the end of the day, the Chargers get like a, however you want to label it, generational tight end prospect, a very good tight end prospect. And I think kind of number 5 is probably the ceiling for when Brock Bowers goes. I don't think he's taken any higher than 5. At number 6, we have the New York Giants taking Joe Alt. So, in a scenario where there's 0 tackles off the board, I know they drafted Evan Neal high. I know they drafted Andrew Thomas high. They've used a lot of early first-round picks on tackles. I think if Joe Alt is on the board, you got to find a situation where Evan Neal either fits on that line or you find him a new spot and someone wants to take a chance on him. I think there's also big issues on the outside. You could go Rome Odunze. You could grab someone on the defensive side. But I think Joe Alt is just OT1, like, very clearly. And it's almost like really, really hard to not take him if he's available here. But they could also take Jaden Daniels if that's someone who interests them. I guess this spot, if Malik Neighbors is off the board, is kind of tricky for the Giants. Yeah, it's an interesting spot. At number 7, we have the Tennessee Titans taking Olu Fashanu, best pass protecting tackle in the draft. Pair him up with Peter Skronsky. Give Will Levis a little help. You got Treylon Brooks. You got DeAndre Hopkins. If Bowers is here at 7, I don't necessarily know if they take him, but he did voice that he would love to play for the Titans. So I don't think that's completely out of the question if he is available. At number 8, the Atlanta Falcons take Jaden Daniels. With Justin Fields kind of trade talks like slowly heating up as February goes on, and we have the combine coming up at the end of the month, it has kind of become more apparent that the Steelers are kind of the leading team in this, and that very well may change. I think the Falcons are kind of like a sleeper team. I know everyone says that, but I think they're not going to come at it as aggressively as the Steelers until the combine, maybe, because I think the Falcons want to play it where they kind of figure out, what's going on in the draft, and they also might get someone in free agency. I don't know. They take Jaden Daniels. He's QB3 off the board. I don't think this is necessarily the worst pick in the world. I think in the system that Zach Robinson is running with those weapons and O-line, he could find success in Atlanta. At number 9, we have the Chicago Bears taking Rome Odunze. I think this makes a lot of sense for them. I think at the end of the day, the Bears need a number 2 weapon. And, unless you're going to go get one in free agency between, Neighbors, Marvin Harrison Jr., Odunze, Brock Bowers, like if one of those skill players is available at 9, I could see it very realistically the Bears taking one of those guys. The top 2 tackles are off the board. I'm not saying you would take a tackle, but at the end of the day, you could upgrade the left side. Braxton Jones, I think, can hold his own. I don't think it's glaring. You could also go edge here. I think they're going to go edge in free agency. So Rome Odunze is a different type of receiver for Caleb Williams in this scenario to be throwing to. At number 10, the New York Jets take J.C. Latham. I think, honestly, personally, it's going to be Talise Fuaga. I've heard the Jets are kind of, enamored with him. But I think J.C. Latham is not a bad pick because he is a very big, as he put it, 21-year-old, 6'6", 360-pounder. He moves well. He's very patient. He's very fluid. I think he's a pretty good pass protector. My favorite thing is like when you watch him, like, and he's in his pass sets, like he's super patient. Like he's not frazzled by like a quick rusher. Like he's gonna stifle him at the line. Like he's a big guy and probably the strongest guy in the class. And I think if you want a more dominant run game, maybe go Fuaga here. At 11, we have the Minnesota Vikings taking Dallas Turner. I think with Danielle Hunter possibly walking, Marcus Davenport possibly being gone, you need to revitalize that edge, give Brian Flores another weapon. This, in my opinion, is prime J.J. McCarthy territory. Let's say you bring Kirk Cousins back for a year, you draft J.J. McCarthy, let him sit. You got Kevin O'Connell there who knows how to run a great offense. I think it's a good option for him, but I also think edge is a good play here. I could also see them going corner. At number 12, we have the Denver Broncos taking J.J. McCarthy. This makes a lot of sense in my opinion. Dane Brugler, who, he is very, very prevalent in the draft world. He was saying, don't be surprised if J.J. McCarthy goes top 12. And he goes number 12 in this draft. I think there I think Denver or Minnesota is probably the prime situation for JJ McCarthy. You're going into two teams with really good offensive-minded head coaches. Minnesota has better weapons on offense than Denver, but you're still not going into a situation where you're stuck. And in my opinion, if you go to Denver or you go to Minnesota, you can sit JJ for a year, have him learn, soak up all this knowledge, get some NFL experience without throwing him to the Wolves right away. And I think that is probably the best case scenario for JJ McCarthy. I think he is liked by a lot more NFL teams than like the general media and public. At number 13, we have the Las Vegas Raiders taking Talisa Fuaga. I think this is a really good pick. He is a very dominant, nasty mauler in the run game, and I think the way that Antonio Pierce describes a Raider, I think he fits that very well. They have to find a quarterback, obviously, but at the same time, you need guys to protect your quarterback. Good pick for the Raiders. At number 14, we have Troy Fontanu to the New Orleans Saints. So I've recently come around on Troy, and I think the reason I have is because of his versatility. So, Trevor Penning has not really panned out that great. So my opinion is, if you kind of missed on him, you can play Fontanu at tackle, but also let's say Penning starts to pan out. Shift Troy to guard. Like, you could, he has a lot of options, and I think he's someone that may not have the highest ceiling, but he has a high floor. He gives you options on your offensive line. So good pick for the Saints. I think they really do need to go O-line or D-line here. At 15, we have the Indianapolis Colts taking Terrion Arnold. I like this a lot. CB1 is finally off the board to the Indianapolis Colts. You got to build up that defense, and Terrion Arnold does just that. He's 20 years old. He's young. He's super athletic. He's physical, and I think the way the Colts are going, this would be a perfect pick because Terrion Arnold, in a year or two, like maybe his second or third year in the league, you're going to really start to see that potential start to come to not realization, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to start to manifest in year 2 and 3. So, good pick for the Colts. At 16, we have the Seattle Seahawks taking Jared Verse. I think you need an edge. I think Verse is, in my opinion, some teams are going to like him a lot more than others just because he is such like a bull rusher, power rusher, and I don't think that's bad. I just think like some teams want a little bit of a different style from their edges, but at the same time, a team like Atlanta could go get him. They were interested in him last year. So Jared Verse to the Seahawks makes a lot of sense. You have a great secondary. Help your secondary out by getting to the quarterback sooner. At 17, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars taking Byron Murphy II. I like this pick a lot. If you're able to retain Josh Allen, you have Trayvon Walker, and you beef up that interior, that defensive line suddenly gets very, very scary. Now, obviously, there's other holes you got to fill on that Jacksonville defense, but at the same time, if you're getting to the quarterback really quickly, and Byron Murphy has a 19.6 pass rush win percentage, then, your secondary might not need to be as incredible as it would be if, your pass rushers are getting to the quarterback so quickly. At number 18, we have the Cincinnati Bengals taking Tyler Guyton. Guyton is kind of a project. So he's very young and raw as an athlete. He is 6'7", 328 pounds with 34 and 2/8 inch arms and runs like a tight end. Very athletic and big, but there's got to be some molding. Now, I don't know, in my opinion, I think you should maybe sit him for a year. I don't think he's someone you throw into the fire. I don't know if he'd excel like that. But from my understanding, when I was watching the Senior Bowl, is he was very competitive. Like, he wanted to go up against like the best of the best at there. He wanted Latu. He wanted, those top edge rushers there. So it's definitely someone that they could develop if they plan to sit him for a year. At number 19, the Los Angeles Rams take Quinyon Mitchell. This makes a lot of sense to me. I think the Rams need to beef up their secondary, and Mitchell impressed like hell at the Senior Bowl. He had great stats at Toledo, and I think with the way that the Rams are building, Mitchell can be like kind of an impact player year one, but continue to develop as the years go on and just be better and better and better. He is so sticky, great in man. Really like this pick for the Rams. At number 20, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers taking Jackson Powers-Johnson. They really need a center. I know it's probably going to be him or Zach Frazier. I've heard more from the Steelers about Zach Frazier. I think they're potentially both first-round picks. I mean, at the end of the day, I believe the first round is for premium positions. But if you look at, for example, the 4 teams in the NFC Championship and the AFC Championship, all of them had elite tight ends. Tight ends are not considered premium positions, but yet some of the best teams have the best players at these positions. So whatever you want to argue, this is a legit need for a team that can improve. So if they go Jackson Powers-Johnson, if they go Zach Frazier, or if 2 centers go in the first round, I don't consider them a reach. You can call them a reach because there might be better players on the board, but to me, that's not a reach. At 21, we have the Miami Dolphins taking Graham Barton. He is another interior player that is versatile on the O-line in the interior, and from what I've been hearing, just reading different reports about him, is he's probably one of the safest players that you can go with. I believe he was a tackle at Duke, but he's kind of projected to be that interior. But for a team like the Miami Dolphins, who really did struggle on the interior, Teron Armstead's getting older on the left side, Austin Jackson on the right side, the right tackle is not amazing. Getting someone that has kind of like a high floor like a Graham Barton will do your line, and whoever is behind it, whether that's Tua or a new quarterback, it'll give him peace of mind. At number 22, we have the Philadelphia Eagles taking Cooper DeJean. For this Vic Fangio defense, I love this pick. Cooper DeJean is so good in the run game, and with the way Vic Fangio plays his defense, I just think he fits it so perfectly. There's really not much else to say other than DeJean is a high-effort, very physical player and super athletic. At number 23, we have the Texans taking Brian Thomas Jr. This is not the first time I've seen him mocked here, but I personally really, really like it. You have Nico Collins, you have Tank Dell, you have Brian Thomas Jr., you have Dalton Schultz. Like, the receiving core for C.J. Stroud continually gets better. C.J. Stroud vastly impressed his rookie year, and if you're able to build on that and give him more weapons, give him more help, I don't understand why C.J. Stroud can't be a top 5 quarterback in the league next year. Top 5 might be pushing it, but I just believe in C.J. Stroud that much. Watching him break down plays, watching him run that offense, watching him make those throws as a rookie, leading his team to the playoffs, very impressive. At 24, we have the Dallas Cowboys taking Amarius Mims. I really, really, really like this pick. You don't have to start Mims right away. He has 800 career snaps at Georgia. Very small sample size, but very good tackle prospect. Tyron Smith may be retiring. He may walk in free agency. You don't really know what's going on there. I think this is a good pick for the Cowboys if you don't play him right away. Let him sit for a year or get him in later in the year. Throw him in reps here and there. I think if you throw the whole load on him, he's going to struggle early. I think he'll break out of that, but what would be best for him, in my opinion, would be for him to sit a little bit. At number 25, we have the Green Bay Packers taking Jordan Morgan. He is the Arizona tackle. I want to read this. The Packers could use help at tackle and guard. Morgan, who played left tackle at Arizona, might be better off moving inside in the NFL. Either way, this pick would check a box for a young Green Bay squad that's in great position with 11 draft picks. So I saw a comment the other day talking about how the need for tackle is overstated for the Packers, and I honestly, as a Bears fan, tend to agree. I know Bakhtiari's pretty much gone, but like, the Packers' offensive line is actually, it's still pretty good. Like, I don't know if I'm going to use like a first-round pick on a tackle. I personally, my fit here that I would love to see, I would hate it as a Bears fan, but I would love to see, is if they went like a safety, like a Cam Kitchens. Oh my Lord, that would be scary. I could also see them taking a cornerback like a Nate Wiggins, someone like that. But going on to number 26, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking Laiatu Latu. I think this is a good pick. Pair him up with Kalijah Cansey. Give Todd Bowles another weapon. I do think that secondary needs some youth to it, though. More on the cornerback position. But, I don't hate the pick. I think it's a position of need. Their cornerback depth and youth kind of scares me a little bit more. At number 27, we have the Arizona Cardinals taking Nate Wiggins. Nate Wiggins is a good corner for the Cardinals. More of a zone guy, can play in man, but he's only 20 years old. He has length, explosion for days, Nick writes. My thing with corners, being a Bears fan and watching how they've drafted this secondary, I know the Bears defense isn't great. They had good defense last year, but nothing outstanding. But what I have really liked that Poles and Eberflus have done, all the guys they target are really long. And if you don't have elite athleticism, having that extra length to break up a ball or stick with somebody, in my opinion, is very, very, very important. So I like when teams will go for longer corners, even if they're not like the most quick guy on the field. I just think it makes up for a lot. So I really like the pick for the Cardinals, who have a lot of holes that they need to fill. At number 28, we have the Buffalo Bills taking Keon Coleman. I love this pick. Whenever I do mock drafts, I try to get Keon Coleman to the Bills or the Ravens or even the Chiefs, because I just think, he may be like more of a second round guy, but for teams that really need to beefing up that receiver room who are already kind of established, I think this is kind of like the route they need to go, the Keon Coleman route. At number 29, we have the Detroit Lions taking Kool-Aid McKinstry. The Lions need help in the secondary. They need help on their D-line as well, on the edge opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. I think cornerback is going to be the way they go. They have kind of built their cornerback. They put like Band-Aids on their secondary basically last year. I think Brian Branch is an outstanding player as a safety, but I think they need to really, really focus on the secondary and getting like longer term guys in there. At number 30, we have the Baltimore Ravens taking Ennis Rakestraw Jr. I like Rakestraw Jr. I think he's a good player. I don't necessarily know if the Ravens are going to go here first round. Maybe like a Jerzant Newton would work better here, with Matabike probably getting tagged. But I don't know. Even like a Darius Robinson. And he happens to be the next pick. So the San Francisco 49ers take Darius Robinson. They're going to need help but on the line, but at the same time, I think they have more of a need in their secondary, in their depth of their cornerbacks. But the thing that is the issue is a lot of the first round corners already went. So do you reach? Do you trade back? What do you do? I could also see them kind of taking a tackle here, but all the good tackles went. So with the way the board fell, it's kind of unfortunate. They do need to upgrade at right tackle. So Darius Robinson, though, I think he is he's someone who can play in the interior. He can play on the edge as well. Not a bad pick for the San Francisco 49ers. And the Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs, take Adonai Mitchell out of Texas. I haven't watched much of Mitchell's tape. I'm gonna be honest with you. I would prefer someone more like a Troy Franklin here. I think, Mitchell is a big body. Mitchell is a bigger body. I will give you that. I think Troy Franklin's 6'3", though. He's just more of a speedster. I do like Adonai Mitchell to them. I think it gives them a little bit different of a weapon compared to a Rashee Rice. So yeah, I think first round, the Chiefs are definitely going wide receiver here. So that has been the first round of Nick Baumgardner's mock draft that came out yesterday. There are 3 rounds to this thing. I'll have the link in the description like I always do. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe, leave a like. Let me know in the comments your favorite and least favorite pick from this mock draft. As always, we're bringing you guys content daily. We keep growing. We appreciate all your support. We hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.